Rise and Shine Rwanda. It's Thursday, the 18th of February.
Good morning. It's just after 7 o'clock in the morning and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Ivan Magwene.
And me, Yvette Shimbusho.
Over the next hour, we'll bring you all the latest news, sports and business headlines from here in Rwanda and around the world. And as usual, we start off with Yvette. Yvette, what do you have for us in business today?
I have a lot going on. There's everything from infrastructure to the industry of resources, animal resources. So, yeah,
Sherry,
ministry actually.
Okay, Sherry, I understand it's Thursday,
so it's movie review.
I always remember that because normally Sherry starts off, you understand it's Thursday, so
it's movie review, and that's all I'll say.
All right, Moses, what's up in the world of sports after the Champions League, of course, sitting up and
well, you just said. Yesterday we were talking about that Chelsea might beat PSG, but again things went the other way around, and PSG beat Chelsea 2-1 on Tuesday. So things are not good for Chelsea's team. So, but they scored an away goal. They might progress the next round if they happen to win 1-0.
Talk about the Blues there. Well, all that and more still to come, but first, Rise and Shine, story of the day. Welcome back to Rise and Shine, story of the day with me, Ivan Magwene. Now, various entertainment and media outlets bombard viewers with depictions of sexuality in some Western countries. Nevertheless, this aspect of popular culture opens doors for parents who dare to enter into discussions about sex with their children. This is a direct contrast to that of Rwanda, where the intimate details of one's sex life is often kept private, hidden from the public view. Talking about sex is considered by most families astray from culture norms. Literally, there doesn't appear to be a clear definition of sex education in Rwanda. Now, without a curriculum for sex education, both parents and teachers are confused about who is responsible for teaching about the do's and the don'ts. So tonight we open up the discussion with my colleagues on sex education in Rwanda.
This morning.
We're talking about. People don't want to talk about it. People don't feel comfortable talking about it, but we're going to talk about it on TV right now, this morning.
Yeah.
So, starting with, what is your own general view of sex education, especially in the Rwandan society so far?
Given our culture, we feel like talking about such things is somehow a taboo because in our culture, everything is, such things, intimate things are very private and people don't really talk about it. And even though maybe some parents might engage their children about such topics, it's not often, and it's not among all parents. What I do believe is that it's very important. It's very important because it's good for the children to know the do's and the don'ts, and not just to keep hearing things or seeing them and not know exactly and being confused. And it's very important to be aware of your body and the changes that are occurring within your body and outside and everything, so that, we don't fall into traps, or we don't have like early pregnancies, or we don't have people contracting different STDs without knowing because we've not been educated. So I think it's very important. I mean, okay, let's not put too much pressure on the parents because it can be very awkward. I mean, imagine your dad sitting you down and telling you something like that. You'd be like, what is going on? It's the end of the world. But having it incorporated in the curriculum at school would be great, because hearing it from a stranger, somebody not so close to you, you would probably even understand it better. You would not be shy to ask different questions, maybe even tell some of your experiences. So it's actually good,
Alright.
and mostly in school.
Okay. Sherry, I want to ask you this to know just your experience. When you're growing up, in your family, at school, did you ever get a chance of somebody talking about sex education with you?
Luckily enough, I did. I did, and especially at school. And also especially what I was doing, because I took human sexuality as my minor in school. So it was
In university?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
But at some point I had
And
to
what's
drop
that
it
about
because
when you talk
at some point I had to drop it. I didn't really pursue it. At some point I had to drop it because I was doing a major that was very demanding. But at least at that time I know that I picked up a few things and I got the background knowledge about this. And the reality is not even just in Rwanda, I mean in Africa. Parents are not comfortable talking to their children about such things. And we can't blame them because maybe that's the way they were brought up. We're so different from how the Western world has been brought up. But I think what should be done maybe is to put more emphasis on it in schools and, you know, just be able to talk to young people about it, especially teenagers who are in high school. Because one thing that maybe you have noticed in the past is that there's a lot of unwanted pregnancies, which are leading people to just marry not because they intend to, but because...
Or even abort.
Yeah, or even abort, yeah. And I feel like there is so much that people can learn, you know, methods of contraception. Of course, I'm not saying that we should encourage them to take part in this, but in case it happens,
I mean,
let there be a foundation that people can know, you know what, this has happened, but there's a way that I can solve this than just waiting for an oops moment.
Exactly.
So I feel like not just Rwanda, but Africa as a, maybe we need, just the way we talk about chemistry, we talk about biology, maybe there should be a class about sex education. And so people can be able to ask all these questions and just, you know, be knowledgeable about, how to behave and how to know more about their bodies. Why I'm saying how to know more about our bodies, when it comes to ladies, when it comes to, and maybe this is not the right time to talk about it, but let me just address it since we're talking about sex education. When it comes to ovulation of different women, you react differently. But people don't know that because they don't even know the time that they're ovulating. So I feel like if we paid more attention, and I'm sure there's so many people who are knowledgeable about this that can, you know, talk to young people about this.
Yes. Now, Moses, I would love to open up this discussion to you, especially maybe I would love to know if you were a father, all right? And for me, I just feel, I want to pose this question because most people tend to say, especially children in Africa, they say, well, the reason why we're not open even on such kind of matters is because most of our parents or even our teachers, let's say, do not create a relationship that, you know, gives a way for us to have the space to talk about this same issue, especially sex education.
Because, you know, the only way to do that, to make it be successful, is to try to learn your child from early age. You know, the moment the child is growing up, try to know every stage that the child, either a boy or a girl, how she's progressing, how she's getting.
So I want to
And he or she also understands how to behave, because there are things that happen to children, and again, you know, the child will say, I don't know this, you know, but I've heard from someone else. Let me just try it out, you know, because maybe someone is trying it, there's no problem. But this is something that might not affect a child immediately. it may affect a bit after some time. So, you know, for a father, you need to understand your child much better than anyone else. And the only way to do that, spend an hour or two, at least every week, to explain and tell what is going on outside the world and inside also, and how do you want your child to behave if he or she becomes, you know, older, out of 18 especially.
Of course. Yes, you're going to say something to supplement what?
It's very important for what he said, building that relationship. And I don't think necessarily you have to talk about sex education immediately. I don't think so. But building a bond, you know, nurturing a relationship with your child, even if it's just, oh, you know what, every week my son and I or my daughter and I usually go to the park and we look at, you know, we go to the museum and we just have time to bond. That is also very important, you know, because these days parents are very busy, children are always, you know, put in different curriculums, extracurricular activities. So it's important to build that relationship so they feel comfortable enough to approach you, to approach the parents and tell them, hey mom, hey dad, there's something going on and I think, you know, I want your help, or I think maybe we can do this and that, you know, and help me out.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, I want to, of course, get first-hand experience from you as somebody that at least had the opportunity to get, you know, experience sex education, get all the tips and everything, the do's and the don'ts. What has it helped you in your growth as a person?
Well, one thing for sure that it has helped me, especially when I was taking those classes, those psychology classes, one thing that hit me, I was like, everybody needs to know about this. And the thing that I got, first of all, it exposes you to you. You learn more about yourself even before you go out there to talk about it or to sensitize people. You have to understand a lot about what goes on within you or in different times, you know. So I feel like how I grew a lot is that I was exposed to knowing a lot about me, and I try to use the opportunity to even talk to people. Like when the talk comes up, of course, I don't just stand in the streets and start preaching.
Hello, what's going on with you,
What's
honey?
going on? No. Like when I have this talk with people, at least I try to use the knowledge that I got to just tell people, you know what, you need to do this. You need to do this. You need to know more about your body. You know, men, you need to take this, or ladies, you need to do this. So it just really helps you. It really helps you, even health-wise. It really helps you with your health, even with just the way your mental thinking, and makes you, you know, be in contact with every other bit of your life. So you're not caught off guard most of the time. So I think, for real, this sex education needs to be introduced in schools.
And I feel you also, you get to realize that there are so many misconceptions within the subject as a whole, as in you find out that, oh, really, things were not really like that? Oh, I thought it was like that, you know? What we see in the movies and what we're exposed on social media is not exactly what the reality is, you know? And because of the sex education, you're able to learn a lot about yourself. And also I think it should start at an early age, because these days we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have YouTube, and these days a 10-year-old has a smartphone, you know, and they can explore all these different all these different materials and content, and you have all these different, you know, you have like a sphere where, you know, there's so much going on, and as a parent you might not even know, unless of course you check their phone, and I don't think that's really advice, because you might get a heart attack. So I think it should start at an early age, you know, building that relationship, and not necessarily on sex education, but a friendship, and where they're so comfortable to come and tell you anything, which is very important.
Now, of course, as we come to the conclusion of this discussion, I would like to ask you a question. Now, it's addressed to everyone. When do you think sex education should start? At what age?
I think from the minute you're around 9 years old. 9 years old?
Because most parents are very confused about when should I start. You know,
only because really sure. I'm thinking in terms of girls, and when they start, ovulating and all that, and their cycles, and some start as early as 9 years old. So imagine if anything happened and you have an oops moment, a girl could get pregnant. Probably not at 9, but at probably 12. So probably as early as possible. Just Don't go right in and just start from like 0 to 100. Oh, you know, your cycle is like this, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you know, there's HIV and then there's this and that. And you're like, oh my God, no, that's too much information. Don't bombard them at once. Start slowly.
So Moses and Shay, you think 9 is appropriate, or you think it's a little
Moses
bit
is better.
earlier?
I think between 7 and from 7 would be much better, because the moment a child enters primary school, you know, most of this time children are going into primary from 6, between actually 5, 6, 7, you know. But at 7 years old, you know, because you happen to find a child at school having a boyfriend, a girlfriend, not just, you know, in a loving perspective, but because they are friends, they are closer, maybe they are living close to by their neighbors, and then, you know, they start taking care of each other, you know, I bring a blade at school, you know, you bring a chocolate, kind of stuff, you know, and the more they are closer, the more, and they look at TV sometimes, you know, you are not aware, sometimes you're not at home, you know, someone else brings in a movie, you know, because they are very, open to information, and they can read, you know. So from that age, you know, the moment they are engaged on being friends, someone realizing that I have a friend, you know, someone I can take care of, you know, from 7 and above, that's when you should build that relationship. And then the moment the child is 15, 16, you know, that 10 years in between, you know, has built a big foundation. There will be nothing that a child will never know.
All right, now Sherry, would you say something about the age maybe before close up the talk?
Yes. Now, I actually want to say this by giving a case scenario.
Okay.
I remember the very first memory I have of seeing people who were intimately involved, nothing graphic, it was just a couple. And I think I was around 6 or 7, and that thing disturbed me. I was like, what is that? And I wish I had somebody to explain to me and tell me, you know what, that's what people who love each other do. Maybe I would grow up
older
thinking,
age.
you know, when you're older, when you're like their age, maybe, yeah, and for all the right reasons. So imagine if you have a child who is 6 or 7, and they see that, and you know, the thing about starting early is kids want to know. If they're so innocent, so they'll ask you immediately. So from there, you can start picking up from there. You can, if someone, I'm giving my example now, would have told me, you know what, those are people who love each other, and that's what people who love each other do when they're that old. So you're only allowed to do it when you understand what it is. The next time I see people, I was like, wow, that's what they told me. I want to be like them, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, as opposed to just sitting there and, you know, thinking about it and like, I need to try this sometime also, you know? So I feel like you just start where the kid is ready also, because when they see, you want to go to a 6-year-old and sit them down, they've never seen that before.
Of course.
So
Yeah,
when you start
it really
asking
depends.
the questions,
Yeah.
you start from there. So by the time they're 12, they know what sexual
peer pressure and everything that is going on around
and they don't
society.
even know when that happened
Exactly.
or how
So
it happened.
HIV, boom.
Yeah.
And for
It's
me,
so
that's why I
sad.
feel that this is a very big topic that I think we should keep on discussing. And of course, we tell our viewers to keep on the discussion and engage everyone on indeed bringing on the sex education, maybe curriculum to even to the schools, to make sure that we bring this same topic closer to the students, to the young people out there.
Yeah.
Now we wrap up the talk from there, and we hope that, you know, you can engage more, maybe at Rise and Shine Rwanda, tweet us at Rise and Shine Rwanda, and give us your views on this same topic. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. Business stories are coming up next with Yvette Shumbusho.
The things that make you look outside the window and sigh. The ones that make your dreamy eyes look up to the sky and smile. Forget the miles between and smile at the sky. Like it held something precious that belonged to you. Like this little secret that makes you hold everything you love. Let your passion guide you. You can be sure you will touch the sky.
Business stories making headlines today. Infrastructure projects undertaken by the Central Corridor states, including the railway line, will be fast-tracked ministries for infrastructure from Rwanda, Tanzania and Burundi. The ministries have subsequently approved the plan for fast-track the Dar es Salaam, Isaka, Kigali, Keza, Musongati railway project along the corridor, Rwanda's Minister for Infrastructure James Musoni said. The partner states also signed an agreement as committed to meet construction, operation and maintenance requirements. Last year, the city of Kigali declared some parts of the city a car-free zone. The move aimed at reducing congestion in the city center is also part of the larger plan towards creating green transport areas within the city. The city authority said the car-free zone would eventually cover the entire central business district. Rwanda is promoting the green economy concept under its medium-term development blueprint to encourage resource conservation as well as environmental protection to ensure sustainable growth. And in regional news, the operation of KCB Group in South Sudan on Monday ground to halt after the lender's staff went on strike demanding higher pay to compensate for a currency devaluation that shaved off workers' take-home packages actually. The Nairobi Securities Exchange listed firm says the higher pay demand came after South Sudan abandoned its fixed exchange rate system in December, causing a major weakening of its currency. You're now up to date with today's business headlines. Sports news coming up in just a moment with Moses Virikunzira.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine One Time. Now for your sport news, I am Moses Virikunzira. Starting with local football, Mashami Venza appointed coach of Amavubi U20 as a head coach. Former Isonga head coach Venza Mashami will lead the Rwanda U20 national team in their tie against Uganda in the first round of the 2017 Africa Youth Championship qualifiers. According to the president of FERWAFA, Vincent Zamwita, the federation has forwarded Mashami's name to the Ministry of Sports and Culture as the proposed head coach for the junior Wasps. He will be assisted by Emmanuel Remesha and Thomas Higiro. Junior Wasps will host Uganda in the first leg of the qualifier that will be played from April 1st to 3rd before traveling to Uganda for the return leg matches on April 22nd to 24th. The finals will take place in Zambia. Now in UEFA Champions League last 16, Edison Cavani came from the bench to score the winner in PSG 2-1 win over Chelsea on Tuesday. Edinson Cavani came off the bench to give Paris Saint-Germain the advantage after the first leg of their Champions League last 16 tie against Chelsea. The hosts went ahead through Zlatan Ibrahimovic's deflected free kick, but John Mikel scored a precious away goal, capitalizing on the Sam Telibo defending to sweep home a deserved leveler from 6-yard box. Chelsea's stoic defending had them on course for the draw before Cavani steered home Angel Di Maria's pass, and elsewhere, Benfica beat St. Petersburg 1-0. And finally, in transfer news, Carlos Tevez rejected $19.5 million a year deal to join Chinese club Shanghai CIPG. Boca Juniors striker Carlos Tevez has turned down a strategic £19.5 million a year deal to move to China to remain with the Argentine Giants. According to Tevez, he was offered the lucrative deal by a Chinese club, Shanghai CIPG. However, the 32-year-old rejected their advances in the order to stay with his hometown club. Boca Juniors, the Cash League Chinese league, has also captured headlines recently with a number of big money transfer coups. and the window there remains open until February 26. The likes of Jackson Martinez, Alex Tex-Taylor, and Ramirez has been the most eye-grabbing names to join in recent weeks, as well as former Arsenal striker Gervinho, who joined in China with £11.4 million to move to Helbo China Fortune. Now, while most fans are still in hangover from CHAN 2016 hosted here in Rwanda, for players it was business as usual. Police FC played their 2016 CAF Confederations Cup for the second time in a 3-1 win against Atlabara of South Sudan on Saturday at Stade de Kigali. Does Police stand any chance to progress in the next round? Well, first let's take a look at how the ambience was at Stade de Kigali Stadium on Saturday.
Ntago bishimishije na gatoya, nshimishijwe no gutsinda match, ariko comportement muri rusange w'abakinnyi ntago ari nziza, kube état d'esprit yabo yagombye guhinduka kugira ngo bamenye agaciro ka competition abantu barimo, kandi ibyo ntago biba muri polisi gusa, byagombye kuba ku bakinnyi b'Abanyarwanda bose bagomba kumenya kukina match nk'iyi, kugeza aho wakina mu matsinda birashaka ko uzamura urwego rwawe.
First of all, I would like to say congratulations to the Police. They have actually made it. This was a very good game. I saw the game myself. Quite a good performance. 3-1 was a very good win at home.
Yes.
But leave alone that. Now I will jump on to the most competitive league in Europe right now.
The UEFA Champions League.
The UEFA Champions League. For most people, they would think of Heineken or something like that.
Yeah.
But let's bring it down to the analysis of the game. Quite a surprise that PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, finally made it. For most people, they gave also a chance to Chelsea to beat.
Including myself.
Yes, of course. Now, at this moment, do we think Chelsea has a chance to again beat Paris Saint-Germain back at home when they come at Stamford Bridge?
Well, the scoreline was not a bad result for Chelsea as far as we are concerned.
And a wonderful goal by Obi Mikel.
Yeah, Obi Mikel, actually, the last goal he scored it back in September 2014. So it was a good goal for him. But let's look at the game in details. Chelsea entered in this game with a hefty of injuries. You know, there was no John Terry, there was no Kurt Zouma, who is not going to play again until the end of this season, and there was no Nemanja Matic, one of their best midfielders, because he had a red card in the previous Champions League game. So those three actual starters were not in the game. Now there was Oscar, who was not well in the form because he's just coming up out of injury. And there's no other strikers who can help Diego Costa. So there was a lot of problems in the Chelsea squad, but they did what they had to do. Again, look at the PSG. PSG had all players available, from Zlatan Ibrahimovic to Lucas Moura, to Thiago Motta, to Verratti, to Matuidi, you know, to their captain Thiago Silva and David Luiz. You know, all the team was in between. Despite you know, the controversial between Serge Aurier, who is their right back, and you know, the coach and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. You know, there was some problem that had happened between the player and the team and the manager and Zlatan. But that aside, PSG was very strong enough to actually beat Chelsea. But, you know, looking on how the game developed, you know, the way Chelsea started the game, you know, PSG started attacking in the first 15 to 20 minutes. But again, Chelsea came back in the game and they started playing. You know, Diego Costa was a menace. You know, there was a big combination in between Eden Hazard, you know, and Fabregas. But Matuidi, Thiago Motta, and Thiago Silva and Verratti were really strong in their midfield. And of course,
we can't wait to see what maybe Chelsea does home when the team comes on. But do you think maybe there could be chance for Chelsea to keep on to the games, maybe after they come back from that loss in Paris?
Well, before to say who stand a chance to progress is, we saw a PSG with a lot of players coming from the bench and come and do a difference. That's what Edison Cavani did. You know, 55 million pounds. You know what to expect from him.
He proves he's worth it.
He proved it. But again, you know, scoring a goal away is also an advantage, because Chelsea needs just one goal, or actually, if Chelsea wins 1-0, that means Chelsea will go through. You see, you know, it's not going to be easy. But again, hopefully that time Oscar will be on form, and you know, John Terry will be back. You know, Chelsea is having Manchester City coming up this Saturday in FA Cup. It's going to be a tough game again. But if they can manage the time they play PSG, probably Chelsea will be back on form as far as Gus Hiddink and his team is concerned.
Probably. Let's leave it at the probably.
Yeah.
Of course, you mentioned it in your own words. Let's hope Chelsea, of course, brings back the game back at home. And, of course, congratulations to the PSG fans as they did it once again. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. Local and international news are coming up next.
The things that make you look outside the window and sigh. The ones that make your dreamy eyes look up to the sky and smile. Forget the miles between and smile at the sky. Like it held something precious that belonged to you. Like this little secret that makes you hold everything with love. Let your passion guide you. You can be sure you will touch the sky.
Let's take a look at news making headlines here in Rwanda and around the world.
Parliament has approved a draft law that sets up a fund to enable employed women get their fully monthly salary while on maternity leave. Legislators unanimously adopted the draft law, a historic move that was widely awaited by working women and other Rwandans, since the fund will allow mothers to spend longer time with their newborns without having to forego a significant part of their salary.
The National Electoral Commission has called on the media to report more on the ongoing countrywide campaigns for local leaders. The National Electoral Commission has called on the media to report more on the ongoing countrywide campaigns for the local leaders. According to Olive Kansanga, the election management specialist at NEC, a lot is being done to create awareness of the polls, and the campaigns are going on well.
And in regional news, Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta says he will set up a new special prison for violent extremist offenders. The facility would prevent jihadists from spreading their extremist ideology to the rest of the society. The country's anti-terror law allows security forces to detain people suspected of terrorist activities for a long period without charge. Kenya is battling homegrown militants linked to Islamist group Al-Shabaab, which is part of Al-Qaeda.
And in international news, President Barack Obama has said Republican Donald Trump will not be president because it's a serious job. Mr. Obama said and continues to believe that Mr. Trump will not be president, and the reason is because He has a lot of faith in the American people. Mr. Trump, a billionaire businessman, is the front runner in the race to be his party's choice for the White House. He has won one state primary already and leads the polls in South Carolina, where Republicans vote on Saturday.
One more important news for people to know, as you already know, neighbors Ugandans today go for their poll.
Yes.
For the polls, so
they go to the polls and they're voting.
Yes, and they're voting.
We wish them all the best.
Yes, and I just
Make
hope
informed choices.
and I just hope also that they have a free and free, violent and a wonderful and peaceful day as they elect their next president. So, for our neighbors in Uganda, just make sure you choose so wisely.
We're very proud of the law that has been passed for all the women that will be going into maternity leave, that will be able to get all the full salary.
In fact, I was very excited about
news.
that. All right, now to another part that, of course, a lot of our viewers are waiting for. We take a look at what's hot right now in our daily debate section, Hot Topics with Sherry Uwase. We'll be right back after the break.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. It's time now for your lifestyle update with me, Sherry Uwase. Now today is movie review, and on the shelf at Century Cinema this week, and I think also probably next week, is Finest Hours. Take a look at the trailer first.
I want you to go up on deck and have a look.
This weather, it's scary. I'm hearing about a ship breaking up.
We got 3 hours and we sink.
Chief, pick yourself a crew and you assist that ship.
It's your job to go out, right?
Coast Guard, they say you gotta go out. They don't say you gotta come back in.
We should just go back! I'm gonna have this fun! Every fella here wants to live. The only way that happens is together. Brace yourself!
The Finest Hours, rated PG-13, in theaters January 29th.
Finest Hours is a 2016 American film, and it's about a few gentlemen who went on a boat, and what happened there is just very disastrous. Now, the film is directed by a screenplay, I beg your pardon, by Eric Johnson and Paul Tamasi, based on the book The Finest Hours. Now, the true story of the U.S. Coast Guard's most daring sea rescue. That's what the film is all about. So, I don't know if you guys have seen the film.
No, I haven't. You haven't?
But anyway, it's
I haven't even
really,
heard about it.
You haven't heard about it. But one of the people who is in the movie is Casey Affleck.
Casey Affleck. Oh, Ben Affleck's brother.
Yeah, Ben Affleck's brother.
Yes.
And he is a character, I think he's one of the
Haven't
leading
seen him.
roles in the movie.
I haven't seen him act in a while.
In a
Like,
while,
haven't
I
seen him
think
in
he's
any
been on the
movies.
down low. So it's about this gentleman. They go on a sea, I think, mission rescuing thing. And what happens there is just so bad. So they have families that are leaving home, and yeah, let me first start with this.
Well, for this movie, I haven't seen it, but I am expecting, when it's going, you go for a mission of rescuing. There's, there's soldiers in a boat, and they have a certain mission. And then when they reach there, they happen to be in problem, and they send some other team to rescue them. So I expect a lot of drama and chemistry on, there's some of the movies that we used to see back then, or, some movies where you see someone going there as a soldier, maybe captain or lieutenant to go to rescue people, and go there, you find hardships and stuff. But, the blend, the U.S. Marines are people who are very well trained to to get out of any problem, no matter what is the scenario. And that is what I'm expecting, actually, and I'm pretty sure that when the moment of the movie, they'll be able to rescue these people.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I've not really seen anything. I mean, I've not seen anything related to the movie, but I have seen this other one called Into the Sea. and it's about Oliver Twist and all that kind of stuff, and also they struggle when they're at sea and stuff like that. So I guess it will be something similar. I can't really say much about it.
There's actually one thing I think we should also be looking at is that this movie has a very good image because it's kind of a 1952 movie based on a true story. So
it is best, but it's not a 1952.
No, it's I think the image, You know, this movie
the graphics and everything.
Graphics and everything. So it's a very classy movie, so to watch out for. And also, I think I'm expecting a lot of kind of thriller because honestly, whenever a movie has a lot of water and things like something that you expect might happen at the end of the day, I think it's a thriller that I always look out for. And I just can't wait to hit the movies and watch out the movie.
All right. And let's moving on swiftly to the cult classic. We have Little Man. Let's take a look at the trailer first.
In the world of crime, there's no one bigger than Calvin Sims.
Stupid! You got a boot on the car and you're about to get one in your butt! Sorry, Cal.
Now, he's back in action and going for the score of a lifetime.
That's what I'm talking about.
But something is about to go
The Queen's diamond, it's gone!
terribly wrong. And to finish the job,
Got the diamond? I had to ditch it. Now what? We go get it.
he'll have to hide out
I got a plan, yo. Goo gaga.
in someone else's crib.
Honey.
Look! Oh my god! It's a baby!
Goo goo gaga.
Baby, baby!
From director Keenan Ivory Wayans.
Here's Calvin!
He's adorable in a National Geographic sort of way.
And the guys who brought you White Chicks
I know just what to fix you for you to have a good night's sleep. Mmm. Creamy.
You're drinking breast milk.
comes a special bundle of joy.
I'm gonna show you how great it is to have a dad, and you're gonna show me what it's like to be a dad. Hey, yo, Percy, it's me. Cal, you get the diamond? No, not yet. I'm in timeout.
He'll be going
Open up.
Daryl, what are you doing? That's a rectal thermometer.
where no little man has gone before. Marlon Wayans.
You wanna play a game of peekaboo, huh? Okay. Peekaboo, I see you. Peekaboo, I see you.
Sean Wayans.
Good morning.
You were an animal last night. You've never done that before.
Little man.
One for you, and one for the baby. Could have sworn he just stuck his tongue in my mouth.
Now, a bit about this movie, for those of you who didn't catch it or want to catch it, is after leaving the prison, the dwarf criminal Calvin Sims joins to his maroon brother, Percy, to steal an expensive, huge diamond in a jewelry for the mobster Vulcan. They are chased by the police, and Calvin hides the stone in the purse of the executive Vanessa Edwards, whose husband, Darrell Edwards, wants to have a baby. Now, Percy convinced Calvin to dress up like a baby and be left in front of Edward's house to get inside of the house and retrieve the diamond. Now, Darrell and Vanessa keep Calvin for the weekend and decide to adopt him. And, of course, they're adopting a grown man, not a kid. Now, Vulcan threatens Darrell to get the stone back. I mean, this movie is a joke. Have you watched it?
Yes.
I have. Okay.
They're actually brothers in real life.
They are
the
brothers.
Wayans brothers.
Yeah.
They are really funny.
How was your experience with this movie?
I mean, it's the Wayans brothers. They do everything they do is usually comedic, and even my wife and kids, the person who plays the father is their brother also.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's their brother.
Just a funny
Their
family.
older-
It's a funny
that's the
family,
older
yeah.
brother. The Wayans are very, very funny. It was very interesting. I mean, a little man. He actually looked like a baby for a second, except his face was very manly. Like it had properly developed. You know, he had He had teeth, like full-grown teeth, and everything. Probably even a tiny little mustache. But it's really funny, and it's a good movie. A movie I would definitely recommend for people to watch.
Yes, Ivan.
You know, at some point, every man wished to be little man the moment he entered that house because of the kind of care he was getting.
Especially from the lady.
From the lady, but he went beyond that. He started taking advantage of his size. And, you know, and for me, actually, I think I have watched Little Man as many times as possible. I think from the time I remember that's one of the movies that I first watched when I entered into high school, because, you know, when you used to have Friday nights reserved for movie night, it's one of the movies that I think I first watched when I joined my secondary school. So it has memories. Little Man has memories. And I think it's a movie that you can go back and rewatch and still laugh about it. I mean, Little Man was just the craziest guy around town.
For me, starting from the prison when he was doing gym.
Yes.
That part, yeah.
And they're expecting a very tall man, actually.
Then to an extent, they told him to get out of prison. And even the moment, they put in that baby, then then they put him next to the doll. You know, that's disaster from the dog and stuff. You know, it was, and then entering the house. You know, there was a little bit of problem, misunderstanding between him, the little man, and the father of the daughter of the girl. You see,
so the grandfather.
Yeah, the grandfather. Yeah, and then it was actually a disaster in between the house and what happened in there, and the advantage little man took. Remember when there was the visitors coming in, and
you've watched it a couple of times, eh?
Yeah,
because
not scene by scene.
I mean, your descriptions are very detailed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but again, the movie, it cannot get old. You can go back and watch and watch and watch and watch.
Classic.
Yeah.
And you know what, when he's talking about the grandpa, I just remember the way the person figured out, this person is not a baby, this is a grown man.
Yeah, he actually figured it out.
He knew it, and this person,
like
there are those moments when somebody comes, you're like, I'm not really sure about this person now. This person is not the real person.
Yeah.
And they made the grandpa look so crazy. He was, in fact, taken for therapy because he was so crazy. You're like, you're crazy, dad. This person is a baby. I remember, but Little Man, of course, I just hate what Little Man did to that grandpa. I always feel sorry for grandpa.
Yeah, it was really a funny movie. And for those of you who haven't watched it, just make sure you go and catch up with this movie. So we'll be bringing you all the other cult classics. But for now, don't go away. We'll be right back with Hot Topics after the break. Welcome back, and it's that Hot Topics time again. As always, we are up and about gathering everything that you need to know about what's happening here and abroad, from the debates trending all over social media. We've got it all for you right here and right now. Now, this is very uplifting. A woman selling bread got a modeling contract by accidentally photobombing Tiny Tefa. Now, this woman is called Olajumoke Orisaguna, who is from Nigeria, 27 years old, and was working as a bread seller in Lagos, Nigeria, when she unintentionally walked through a photo shot of Tiny Tefa in his home country. Now, the photographer, Tai Bello, didn't think much about this lady of her casual photobomb until later, when she was going through editing the photos. That's when she noticed that she'd accidentally taken a truly incredible shot, and that this lady was someone pretty special. Now, Bello immediately set out to track her down, and writing on her Instagram, everyone has been asking if this lady is a model. It was just perfect coincidence.
Oh, wow.
Now, she happened to be there, and she took a photo, and she didn't think about it. Later on, when she was posting this thing, which was totally unrelated to the lady, they're like, wow, that model looks good. And it was just someone selling her bread. And after that, they actually took her and they just changed the bottom outfit that she was dressed in, and they maintained that. The bread, it was almost like a sack of bread, but except that it was in a transparent paper. And she looked really good. And after that, she actually got into a modeling agency. And she's a mother of two. She had actually left her husband with the older child, and she came to the city with her younger daughter. Amazing. Because she still needed to be around her mother, who was 2 years old, I think. And now she was actually even put as a cover of some magazine. What? And she was done a totally makeover for. And
can I just say, I mean, once again, I'm going spiritual. So for those who are not, I'm very sorry. But perfect timing. I mean, it's just at that specific time when she was selling bread. And Tiny Temper is he's a musician. Yeah. I think he's Nigerian, but he's based in the UK. He's done songs with Rita Ora and so many, and Kelly Rowland, Wiz Khalifa. So he's a superstar actually. He's very good at what he does, and he's also very widely known. And then on top of that, being next to that person and not even caring, and then all of a sudden... She
probably didn't even know who he was.
Yes, all of a sudden your picture is taken, and now you're a model, and you're going to be getting so much money and be on covers of different magazines and be on fashion shows and stuff. What?
And she's a mother of 2.
And she's a mother of...
And she's looking just so good with... effortlessly.
I mean, I still can't believe it. I mean, my expressions are very Nigerian, but I really can't believe it. I mean, that just shows you how God's timing is just perfect. Like, it's precise. There's not a second later, not a second earlier.
Yeah, just like I said, you know, there's a reason why she's selling bread. Something big was going to happen, you know. There is a purpose behind everything you're doing. It's very important that we as people, a lesson I think we can learn from this is that there's a purpose everyone is, you know, is doing something. There's a purpose you're seated there. There's a purpose, there's a purpose because somebody's seated behind the camera. Everyone has a purpose. And we need to start looking at those humble beginnings because something...
Humble beginnings.
Yes, humble beginnings. And we need to look at that and know that God is just shaping you for something.
Amen.
Yes, exactly. I really like what you just said. I'm so sorry, Moses, but I just thought of something while you were talking, and you know what? We might have a plan and want to, like, for example, let's say if I wanted to become a model like she did, and maybe she wanted to become a model, people told her, but then she's like, I can't be able to afford it, or I mean, at least go to like, Lagos or do all these different things that models do, and then now I'm just gonna sell bread, thinking your dream has died off. But God literally he's like, you know what, you're gonna start here and I'll make sure I get you there.
And so you might sell bread for you
exactly, you might want to be a superstar in a movie or something like that, but you start by being an accountant, and maybe one day somebody will notice you by doing something. I mean, anything is possible.
Well, what Ivan just said is like, you know, whoever you are today, there's a reason why. And there's always like, the most important thing is that we are all still alive. There's always something that will happen as long as you're alive, and as long as you have belief and faith, and of course, hard working. You know, you work hard in what you are, in what you are doing, and forget about what will come later on, because you cannot actually control the future. You can only control the present, and be good at what you do today. You'd never know where it will lead you, as long as you have a dream, and God is always there to make you go through and become whoever you would be at a certain given time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, and you know, there's this verse that I know that my mom loves saying in Kinyarwanda. I don't know it. I probably know it in English, but it sounds better in Kinyarwanda. Imana irebera abayo ntijya ihumbya. So meaning, you know, God who watches over his own will never go to sleep. So, you know, so it's
now what is homes,
you need to take Kinyarwanda classes, but
Humja is too difficult. That's ancient. Just enough, something like that.
Yeah. Easy. Anyway, we would like to leave it up right to our viewers and tell us what you think about this and everything else that we've talked about. For now, don't go away. We'll be right back after the break.
Don't forget, we love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Like us on Facebook and send us your ideas for programs. Check out our Rise and Shine YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and reports we do. Finally, find us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We love to see your pictures. Or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website, www.riseandshinerwanda.com. Well, that is all the time we have for you today. We'd love to hear your feedback, but for now, you've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Yvette Shumbusho.
And me, Ivan Magwene. We'll be at same time, same place tomorrow. Do join us then. But for now, from the both of us and the rest of the Rise and Shine team, have a very good day. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.